Yeah, our history is one of giving back. If you read the Barton Malow history that my dad pulled together, he talks about the connection to the community and things that we did as a company, going back to the Carl Barton days of giving back. Its roots are pretty deep in who we are. I don't think it's a new evolution that Barton Malow has become a giving organization. I believe that's literally from who we are.
My dad and my grandfather were very involved in their church, and my dad was a minister, a bishop, and he never preached at work, but he preached by what he did and how he did it more than what any sermon would have generated. With that foundation, the values that both of them had of treating people, about doing the right thing, about integrity, no compromise. It was the right thing to do, and it was strongly ingrained with each and every one of us in our family and how we went about anything we did, work, school, play, wherever, making our communities better. It's always been part of our family and never a second thought of what we would do. And when you have your leadership involved, a good number of the employees, you set the example and they follow and get engaged, and makes all of us feel good about not only who we're working for, but what we're doing, and life a lot more fulfilling.
So I'm Narissa Morris. I'm the Chief People and External Relations Officer for Barton Malow Holdings. And that job really is about bringing together the energy and the passion of our team members to support our projects and all of the infrastructure that goes along with that. But it's also combined with our internal and our external engagement and influence. So from an external relations perspective, how we engage with our communities, whether it's through our foundation or through community engagement and workforce development, supplier diversity, as well as our marketing, communications, and branding, really ensuring that we keep our brand alive and that we maintain the integrity of our brand as it shows up in our work and in the ways that others see us and reflect on what we do. It's been a great journey coming into the organization, as well as being received so warmly, really from the earliest days. And I think that was actually a part of me deciding to come to Barton Malow, was understanding how important the culture was, and that it wasn't something that you just saw on websites or on walls, but it was alive and well throughout all the people processes. Also, it's a company that's focused on innovation. And that was important to me, not just how we continue to do what we've always done, but how are we improving? How are we positively disrupting and looking at new ways of doing things for greater efficiency, effectiveness, and for better outcomes for people and communities? People, projects, communities. And we will talk about that order as significant. And when you start with the people and wanting to cultivate a good experience for them, it shows in the projects. And we have a wide diversity of projects. And so team members get to engage with a lot of different clients. And they do that in a way that really reflects not only what's their passion, but what we're trying to bring, and then also how that will impact communities. That last piece, it's so important because we also recognize that we're not just here to build. We're not just here for financial gain. We're here to make a positive impact. The foundation is a really important part of what we do because it is a direct way to give back to the community, not only financially, but also through the engagement of team members on community service projects. People love giving back to their communities. They love giving back to the communities where we have active projects. All of those are important. And so I think that keeping the foundation work alive and continuing to engage team members is really important.
I was very aware of the foundation, my dad being one of the original founders of the foundation back in 1954. And Dad had managed the foundation, and then at one point had passed it off to my brother-in-law, Mark Barr, who was executive vice president. And then I inherited, if you would, that responsibility when Mark retired. So I looked at it as this incredible opportunity of legacy. that, this is one of the ways that Barton Malow has given back in good times and bad to our community.
So 2024 is the 70th anniversary of the foundation. And over that time, we have grown the impact that we have through our team members as well as our philanthropy. It's a great way for team members to engage in our match program so that their contributions have an even greater impact in the organizations and the causes that they are passionate about. 10 years ago, we started Community Week, and that continues to grow and really gives us an opportunity in a concentrated period of time for hundreds of team members to engage in their local communities as a part of their service through Barton Malow.
Community Week came out of how do we celebrate our 90th anniversary? We're coming up on our 100th, but as our 90th was coming around, it was, what are some things we can do to celebrate? And so this idea was of having a community day. We started out small, and we were just overwhelmed with how well Community Day, the first year that we did it, resonated with our employees in the impact that we could have. So the next year, it expanded to a couple of days, and then it's evolved now into Community Week. Spreading it out over a week allowed people to take different days off from a project, allowed work to still get done in the office or wherever it might be. So it pretty quickly grew from the day to a week, and now we have, not just during that week, but throughout the year, if there's initiatives you want to engage in that will support you as an employee to do that. So it's really helped us live our community value in a new way.
We had this healthcare project in Marquette, Michigan, which was going to be a replacement hospital to bring new services to the company, radiology, ICU, and surgeries to this rather older campus. I learned about community service, which was one of the things I learned about. The core team up there, Barton Malow, the hospital was in desperate need of getting new radiology equipment, to purchase new radiology equipment for the new radiology department we were building. And so the three of us decided to join the hospital in having a little old Marquette vaudevillian musical that we did with, the hospital had brought in this New York, probably third Broadway, way off Broadway, producer that came up to Marquette and worked with the staff, and we had dance numbers, song and dance, a little vaudeville. We were just singing and dancing, and it was a fundraiser we did over a couple of weekends to raise money from the public up in Marquette. And that was my first touch about, how we could contribute to the nature and feel more part of the community.
I got inspired after I was designing healthcare that I wanted to work on projects that help the community as well. It wasn't just, I said I didn't want to do photo huts or strip malls. I wanted to do healthcare, or I wanted to do higher education, where you're, educating the future leaders. The projects that we were working on were very exciting. The type I like to work on, the type that impact our communities. They were healthcare related or research related, sports related, and they were very exciting. I tell people I came to Barton Malow to work on these exciting projects, but I stayed for the culture and the senior leadership and their talented team members. So that's why I've been here over 30 years. Well, you have a great sense of pride. That you built something that's here, that's serving the community, that's serving a purpose, that's saving lives or enhancing lives or whatever it is. And it's kind of a monument.
For our company to be so large and over 3,000 employees, there's not many people that I don't know at the company. Proud to say that because I'm able to have that level of engagement with teammates across the country. When I think of community, which ties directly into who we are, it gives us the ability to showcase how close our culture is when we go out into the community and work with community partners. Like, they see it as well. They're like, oh man, your team is so great. They came out and they did this. Or at this school, the project team read to a group of kindergartners just randomly one day. And, you get involved. We roll our sleeves up regardless of what role we're in. When anyone at the company that I speak with, they talk about Barton Malow, they're like, it's an amazing company. Something that I think is important to note is that the community engagement team also focuses on supplier diversity. And what supplier diversity is essentially defined as at our organization is providing support and capacity building to woman-owned, minority-owned, small and veteran-owned businesses across our projects. So I look at supplier diversity in a couple of buckets. So you had outreach, so gaining interest and raising awareness about the bid opportunities, helping those companies get through pre-qualification, and then really fostering relationships with those larger minority and woman-owned companies that really want to get their business to the next level.
Barton Malow is turning 100. And one of the things that I'm enjoying in this process is the way that we're collecting stories from across the generations that have been a part of Barton Malow. And in doing so, how it shows the way the organization has developed, the way the teams have developed, how we've become a more diverse organization over time, how we've made important the connection to our communities. So I think the depth of storytelling that is going on connected to this 100th anniversary is important. That look back is important, but it also gives us energy for the future. And to be on the cusp of 100 with a vibrant culture, a growing and impressive business is something to be recognized, appreciated, and quite proud of.